We're so excited about the topic we have planned for you guys today. If you remember our video from last week, we talked about what financial independence is. And just to recap, financial independence is when you have enough passive income to exceed your expenses indefinitely.
So, the question is, how do you calculate or track your expenses? How do you know exactly how much passive income you need to reach that state of financial independence or retirement? The answer to that question lies in your personal budget. Don't have one? Don't worry. Today, we're going to give you all the tips and tools you need to get your budget started right now.
And for those of you that already have a budget, stay tuned for tips to optimize your budget. Hi guys, I'm Tassine.
And I'm John.
Welcome back to our channel, Millennial F.I.R.E. Today's topic is so important on your road to financial success and so vital to financial independence. So we knew this was one of the first topics we wanted to share with you.
And before we jump deeply into getting into a budget, I wanted to share something from my life that I feel like will really help you guys. So before our married days, before I experienced having a budget, I was in a financial crisis for months and months after each other. I would receive an eviction notice on my door. Utilities would constantly be cut off. Waking up with no power was a normal thing in our household. And there would be times where I would literally have to go and ask friends and family, could I have money to borrow to pay the rent? And by the time I collected the money, the next rent was due. Needless to say, this was a very, very stressful time in my life. Honestly, I'm not sure we would have got married if it wasn't for the budget coming in to help correct this thing. It was bad. But with that being said, once I got a budget and I realized how much money I was making and where my money needed to go, I was able to get my money allocated in a way that I no longer have to worry about having my bills paid. I'm not worried about being evicted at this current moment. I'm not worried about the utilities being cut off because we've already planned for our bills to be covered by budgeting our expenses. And so hopefully this can help bring you a peace of mind as well if this is something you've been going through, because I know that it's brought me a peace of mind and my life has been so much better waking up knowing that my bills have been taken care of.
And even taking that a step further, wouldn't you say that now that you have a peace of mind, you're able to not just worry about bills. Now you have excess income that you're able to plan for retirement and for investments and for vacations.
Exactly. So income now, like she said, I'm excited to make more income so I can invest more, or we can go experience more vacations, go on a cruise, or go enjoy life the way it's meant to be enjoyed.
So with that being said, we're just going to dive right into it. We have 3 steps. Not 6, 3, 3 steps in formulating a budget. And step number 1 would be estimate. Step number 2 is evaluate. And step number 3 is formulate. And in step number 1, estimate, this is a step in which you're going to plan what you think you're going to spend in the months to come. And you're going to be able to make an educated guess on what you will be spending in the months to come by looking at your past spending in your history. And then step number 2 is evaluate. And evaluate is an ongoing process. You're going to be evaluating and re-evaluating throughout the month to make sure that you're hitting your budget goals. And at the end of the month, you'll see, did you hit your budget goals? And if not, how can you make sure that you hit it for the months to come, or what you need to change in your budget to make sure that you're reaching your budget goals.
And with that being said, a point of evaluation that I've dealt with plenty of times in my life because I love to eat out is budgeting for an expense of eating out. So let's say I budgeted $100 for the month of eating out, and it's day 15th of the month that has 30 days in it, and I'm at a $90 expense with eating out. That means I only have $10 left to go for 15 days. That means I need to slow down on my eating out, maybe cook at home or go to McDonald's, or not.
Cook at home.
Yeah. But yeah, and so the evaluation portion is very important to see how you can help ring in your habits.
And for formulate.
And like she said, step number 3, formulate. And this could possibly be one of the most important steps, because this is actually the formulation of your plan moving forward towards financial independence. Because now that we've evaluated what our actual income and expenses are, we can make a plan to say we plan to put back and invest this much money this year, or we plan to have this debt paid off in this year, so we can plan to be financially independent in year 2000, whatever your number may be. And so the formulation of the plan can't happen until we know exactly what's going on in our budget.
And we have provided a budget sheet right below in the description for you guys to download, so that you can get your budget set up today. And we will have a tutorial coming up right now.
Hi guys, this is just a quick tutorial on how to use the monthly budget template. So when you click on the budget sheet in the description below, you'll notice that it's a Google Drive link. The reason why we chose to use Google Drive is because it could literally be accessed anywhere where you have an internet connection. And so whether you're at home, whether you're on your cell phone, on your friend's computer, at the library, as long as you have internet access, you can always have access to your budget, which is a great thing to have. And so when you click on that link, if you already have a Gmail account, just simply sign in with your Gmail account and you'll be brought to the sheet within your Google Drive. If you don't have a Gmail account, we just ask that you please sign up to have one, because this is so nice to have no matter where you go. And so when you click on the link, you'll see that it'll ask you to sign in. If you don't have an account, just click on the create account link below, follow the few simple steps. And once you complete that, you'll be brought to this screen. And what you want to click on once you get here is make a copy. And then you'll be brought to your new budget sheet. And the first thing I want you to do here is, whatever browser you're in, we just want you to bookmark the page. I'm in Google Chrome, so all I have to do is click this star and click done. What that allows me to do is be able to come back here to the browser and click on this link to come exactly here. So let's get to the budget sheet. The first place I want to focus on are the tabs below. So you see that we here have sample, we have summary, and then we have 1 month for every month of the year. All right. So the sample sheet represents the sheet that you're able to just play around in to get familiar with how to use the sheet. If you're ever questioning how to move things around, just come try it out here before you try it in an actual month, because these values aren't calculated in your end values. And so it's just to help you get familiar with using this style of budget sheet. The next tab we have is the summary. As you see, it's empty right now because these numbers and columns are based on the months ahead, which we don't have anything in right now. But as you start to populate the months with values and numbers, you'll see charts and scales and numbers come in here, just to give you a quick overview of what your yearly expenses and income looks like. And then, of course, after that, we have a budget sheet for each month of the year. And right now they're empty, but we're going to put a little something in them in a little bit, just so you can see the summary sheet move around. So we're going to go back to the sample because, like I said, that's the one we learn, we practice in to get familiar with the sheet. And as you'll see, you'll also have a few numbers in here already just to show you what things look like. So please read the instructions at your own free will. I'm going to try to go through each of these in this video, but if you have any questions that aren't covered by this video or in the instructions, please feel free to reach out to us and we'll try to answer you as soon as possible. So the only thing I want to take note of in this section is this: only edit the blue highlighted cells. And so blue highlighted cells are any of the cells that are highlighted blue. And so we ask you to do this because there are a lot of formulas and things around in other places, and it may be difficult to backtrack if any of those formulas are messed up. And we promise you won't mess up a formula as long as you're just staying within the blue highlighted field confines. So let's look at some of the areas of importance here. So we're going to start with the starting cash and checkings balance. What this number represents is what your cash and checkings balance is on day 1 of the month. So if we're in the month of September, we're going to look at September 1st, look at what our checkings account says, the aggregate of all your checkings accounts if you have more than one, and all the cash that you have in your pocket. That's going to be represented in this number. What this doesn't include is your savings accounts and your investments. We're going to talk about those in a little bit. And we'll come back to the charts in a bit. We're going to skip down to where it says expenses. So we have a column for expenses, we have a column for savings, and then we have a column for income. On all of these, you're going to see that we have the planned and the actual. So what the plan represents is that step number one that we were talking about before, estimate. So before the month starts, you're able to come in and put in what you estimate and plan to spend based on your previous month's expenses. And you can put these numbers in so you can have a goal to try to reach to not spend over, or a goal to try to reach to try to make income over. And so just to back up just a little bit, just to be clear, I want to make sure everyone knows what an expense, what a savings, and what an income is. So an expense is any money that is spent. Any money going out of your houses or out of your resources is an expense. And so if you spend $1 on a piece of candy or you pay your rent, those are both considered expenses because there's money that's leaving your account or your pocket and going to someone else. Savings, in this case, savings is specifically money that's put toward your savings account. We're going to get into investments later, but right now I just want you to focus on this being your savings account. And so any money that goes from your checking account to your savings account should be represented here. Income is any money that comes into your house. And so that includes money that's made from paychecks, your neighbor letting you borrow $20, you finding a $10 bill while walking in Walmart. All of that is considered income. And so all of that should be represented here. So when we first come in, what we would want to do is populate all the planned expenses. And so we plan to spend $600 on rent based on knowing our rent. Rent is usually pretty stable. We plan to spend $167 on groceries, and we have an AT&T cell phone bill. But in our case, maybe we have one more expense that we want to add. In order to add an expense or any other row, what you want to do is come to the next available row and start typing in the thing that you want to add. Press the tab button, and then you'll see that all necessary fields will highlight blue. At that point, then you can put in your plan. And we have planned for everything. Now, as the month goes along, we'll get to our step number 2, which is evaluate. So when we pay our rent, we're going to come in and pay our rent. Like I said, rent is usually pretty easy because it doesn't usually fluctuate much. But we'll get to groceries. Groceries, as some of us know, can have huge fluctuations depending on what's going on. So let's say we plan to spend $167, but we actually ended up spending $200. You'll see that the difference column here turns red and says that we spent $33 more than we expected to spend. And this is why we have this notes column here. So when you're 2 years down the road and you're looking back at your expenses and your budgets so you can make better plans for the future, you want to know exactly why there was a difference in what you expected to spend and what you actually spent. So in this case, we'll just put something simple. Family in town, and I need to feed them. And that's the reason why I had to buy more groceries this month. So now, if it's the year 2025 and this budget was written in 2020, I can come back and see exactly what was going on there. And then we can also do one more thing. So, of course, we all know that we don't typically buy groceries at one time. And so there's 2 ways to handle the situation of having multiple grocery accounts. The way that my wife and I prefer to do it is using a simple equation. I promise this is the only equation you guys will have to use if you choose to. I will show you an alternate route of being able to do this as well. So if you put an equal sign, then you can write down every trip to the grocery store that you had, the receipt for every trip that you had, into an equation. So say that I spent $25.22. So I want to write equal signs, 25 and 22 cents plus 33.34. And I'm just going to make up some random numbers here. And as long as I start with that equal sign, I can use a rudimentary equation to add up all of my receipts, and then I can add them together. And so if I ever need to match up and see exactly what I spent on my groceries, I just come and double click into this field and I can see every trip here. Sorry. And so, and that's how we like to handle ours. But if you would prefer, you can actually put them on different rows like this. So you can go groceries 1, groceries 2, and so on and so forth. So whichever way works best for you. But the most important thing is that every single expense that's represented in either your bank account or that you spent cash on should be represented here somehow. Okay, so savings account. So this is any money that goes toward your savings account. So if it goes from your checkings to your savings or cash into your savings, we want to put that here because savings accounts are very important. Remember, we're trying to save money so we can pay off debt and so we can invest so we can get the passive income. And so we want to get to the point where we can actually plan a savings that we have. So let's say we plan for $200 and we only saved $150. You'll see that the 50, we have a difference of $50 that we plan to save. And with that being said, I want to point out some numbers here and some colors. As you see, green usually represents something good. Red means that we could use some work in that area. So in our expenses, for example, we plan to spend $900, but we actually spent $796.85. So we have a green bar. That means it's good. In savings, we plan to save $200, but we only saved $150. And so our bar is red. We haven't gotten to our income yet, so let's put in some income. So let's say we made $610. And you see how when we went over what we planned in the case of income, that's a good thing. So it doesn't turn red. But let's say we go under by a little bit. So we're $10 under our income in this case. So it turns red here. But because the numbers balance out, we made $10 more extra on our first paycheck, made $10 less than our second paycheck. The numbers are still green. And that's how the budget sheet works. If you want to add a new paycheck, just come down here, add the new row, press tab, and there you go again. So please let us know if you have any questions as it pertains to that. One special note I want to make about the savings is that if you take money out of your savings to your checkings account, we want that to be represented as well. So let's say you didn't plan to save anything for a month, but you actually took $20 out of your savings to go to your checkings, which we hope we get to the point that you don't have to take money out of your savings. But in the case that you did, we want you to put negative 20 in your actual so we can represent to show that your savings account is actually $20 less than it was the previous month. And so what I want to show you guys now is how you can get started today. So right now we're in the month of September. So the most important thing about the first month is trying to make sure that we can get the actual values in. We may not have planned values because we may not have previous data to go off of. But once we start using the actual values now for the future months like October, then we can actually start working on the planned. So let's say I have my rent. I'll just go ahead and go straight to the actual as I'm evaluating through the month. Right now it's actually September 29th, so I have quite a few expenses, but these are all made up numbers. So $600, AT&T, actual $50, and we move forward with that. And as we put this in, what we also want to do is go back to the first day of the month and get what our starting balance was for that first day of the month. And also what you remember your cash being. This is the only time we will allow this starting cash and checking balance to be a bit of an estimate. So let's estimate that we had $500 in our account. But moving forward, the end balance is going to be what your starting balance for the next month is. And so we'll show you that as well. Let's say we didn't plan to save anything this month and that we don't have to add in the plan for the paycheck. We just put what we got paid. So $600 paycheck. 2, $600. And now we have these fields here. So now that October is coming up and I have my imbalance for September because September is almost completely over. The 1st of October is going to be the end balance here. So let's pretend that it's now the 1st of October. We're going to look at the end balance for September, and that's what's going to go here for the 1st of October. And then we move forward accordingly. We will put in our plan of what we plan to spend on everything throughout the month, and then come in and put in our actuals. And then you will see the summary sheet update. While we're here, one thing I want to point out is that you can, to make things a bit quicker, you can copy and paste these fields. And so just click on the field, drag, and you'll see it turn a different shade of blue. And then you can either right click and copy, or press Command C on Mac or Control C on Windows. Come to where you want to copy it and press Command V, or go to paste. And then you can copy the fields over so you don't have to type every single row over and over again. So now I want to go and look at the summary sheet. In the summary sheet, we didn't do any plans yet, but here is where you can get a broad overview of what your numbers are looking like for the year. So you have the income that you made so far, the expenses that you spent this year, and the income that you've saved this year, which is $0 because we didn't put anything in. And we have a few graphs to represent that. And so we hope that this budget sheet really helps you guys grow and help you guys get an understanding of your household income and expenses. And please let us know if you have any questions, comment below. We'll gladly help you guys make tweaks if needed. And yeah, getting back to the normal scheduled programming.
So I hope you guys learned something from the tutorial and all the information we provided today. And we hope that this will bring you one step closer to reaching your financial independence goals.
And now we make it to the question of the day. The question of the day is, if any of you guys that are listening have been budgeting, and if so, how long have you been budgeting, and what budgeting tools do you use? We ask because maybe you have some things that we're not aware of, and so we just want to spread this knowledge to everyone. So can you please answer that question in the comments below, and let's talk about it amongst the community.
And this information, if you guys know anybody that can be helped by any of this information, our purpose is to try to spread financial literacy to those who need it. And so please share with anybody that you think could benefit from this information, and subscribe if you haven't already. Like this video if you liked the content in the video, and stay tuned. We will post our next video next Monday, so we look forward to seeing you guys then.
See you next time.